Today we're going to be working on a weaving. So if you have cardboard at home, you can use that. You can also use other materials like a cereal box or anything else that's kind of stiff. If you don't have cardboard, you can even use paper. So I'm going to start off by making some marks. This is going to become our loom. So I'm going to make a line straight across, and this is going to be where I do my cutting. I'm going to do the other side too. This is like the stop sign for my cuts. And then I'm going to start in the middle, make a mark, and then I'm going to make a couple of marks spaced out sort of evenly. Mine are not perfect, but that's okay. So I've got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I want to try to have the same number on the other side. 7. All right, so there we go. Now I'm going to need my scissor and do some cutting. And I'm going to cut, I like to open my blade all the way and cut just up until I run into that line. That's my stop sign. Turn it around, cut the other side. There we go. So now my loom is ready. I just need to get my warp strings. The warp strings are what goes up and down. And I like to use something thin like embroidery floss, or this is a certain kind of string too that works pretty good. You can use regular yarn, but it does kind of stretch a little bit, so your weaving could get kind of loose. So I'm going to use this white embroidery floss, and I'm going to start on the back side, and you can decide what the back is going to be, if you want this part back or if you want this part on the back. Then I took a piece of masking tape and I'm going to tape the back of it. I like masking tape because it stays still. If you use just regular clear tape, sometimes it doesn't stick very good. So I'm going to go down, and I like to use the analogy of flossing teeth. So floss your teeth. Then you're going to go around like a brace. See that? Braces on your teeth. Floss that next tooth, go around and up, and then around and down. So you're flossing your teeth and you're making braces on the back. Around and up, around and down. And then you just keep going like that until you don't have anywhere to go. There I am. So one side looks like a guitar. The other side looks like teeth with braces on them. Now I have this extra string. I'm going to cut it. I don't want to cut it too short. I'm going to give a little extra like that. And I have my next piece of tape. Pull it kind of tight. There's the back of my weaving. There's the front. So my loom is ready to go. Now I had this yarn. I'm going to use blue. And I like to cut off an arm's length. So if you hold it in your finger and pull it all the way to your armpit, cut it off, that gives you a nice chunk to work with. You don't want to have it too long because then it gets tangled up. Now you can weave with your fingers if you want, but if you are lucky enough to have a needle like this, you can thread your yarn right through the needle eye. Sometimes it gets a little tricky, so in order to help you thread your needle, use a really skinny piece of paper that goes through the eye of the needle and give it a fold. Like so. There it is. Slide that through your needle and kind of push it out like that. And put your yarn through that piece of paper. If I can get it through there with my hand. Come on. There we go. Pull it through a little bit. Now, to help thread, you're just going to gently pull that paper. Ta-da! Now your needle is threaded. tie a knot. This is how we tie a knot. We're gonna loop like that over, and then tuck the tail under like so, and give it a pull. There's one knot. I like to tie it twice just so it doesn't come undone. So there we see it again. Overlap, tuck it under, take the other end and pull. Now you have 2 knots. Okay, we are ready to weave. Weaving is a pattern. You're going to go under, over, under, over. So start on one end and go under, over, and then you might have to pick up your string if it's tight. Under, over, under, over, under. Pull your yarn through, leave a little tail like so. If you want to pull it so it's even with your cardboard, that is fine as well. Now the end is where we want to look. We were under when we ended, so we're going to go back that same way, but we're not going to go under this time. We are going to do the opposite and go over. That's what weaving is all about, making that under, over pattern. So go through, under, over, pull your yarn through, but not too tight. It's got a little bit of an arc. Push it down. And you have done 1 row and a second row. Now I'm going to show you what happens if you accidentally goof up. So normally I would go back. This is over, right? So I would have to go back the opposite, which is under. What if I accidentally goof up and I go over instead? So I'm going to goof up and go over, under, over, under, over, under. All right, so I'm getting my row done. Dun, da, da, da. Okay. Now I have 3 rows, right? Uh-oh, look what happens. I goofed up. I accidentally went over when I was supposed to go under. So I not only pulled out the row I did, but I pulled out the row I did before that. So make sure that you are looking at the last part that you did weaving on and where your string is coming out. Okay, so this one's under, we have to go over. So now I have to redo that row I just did. Luckily, it only happens with those 2 rows. It doesn't take the whole thing to go under. All right, push it down. And this time, let's do it right. I went over, so I have to go under. Under, over, under, over, under, over, and under. Pull. This time, it didn't get pulled out. There we go. Just keep pushing down, and eventually your weaving is going to grow and fill up the whole thing. Have fun weaving.